Hi everyone. In this interview post, we're having a look at the practical application process with what we have walked regarding the mind factory and how the process thus is in terms of essentially breaking down the mind factory and in its place utilizing the materials and the resources as one had broken down the factory and replanting within it the tree, and essentially within this how one will be transforming one's existence, one's living, one's expression as oneself within one's physical body into and as the tree of life. We have thus far walked how at the moment our minds are existing as this factory, this system, this machine that is resourcing energy from our very beingness, from our very physicals, and within this producing the products, which is the good products and the bad products, and the consequence existent within both the good and the bad. Within this, the process thus of becoming and transforming self into and as the tree of life is realizing that your beingness, your physical body, is equal to and one with an ecosystem, an environment, like for example a garden. Your physical body is a living organism, just like within a garden, everything within the environment is or are living organisms. And how we utilize that description of the mind, consciousness being like this factory, this machine, the system that is situated within the center of that garden that is destroying, annihilating, using and abusing the natural resources and transforming it into and as products, and just creating death and destruction in its path. And this is exactly then how it goes in this physical existence as a whole, with the world system, money system, in its relationship to human lives, animals, nature, the environment, the earth. So this process then is changing that relationship of the mind, of the system, of the machine. And our process has to be walked within the principle of as within, so without. The world system, money system as it now exists the way it does because of us human beings that are participating it, that are accepting and allowing it. We are the very establishment of this world system, this money system, exactly equal to and one with our minds existing as this factory, machine, or system. It is us, it's who we are, it's what we have become in our relationship to our beingness, our physical bodies. And within the principle of as within, so without, what this world system and money system is doing to the very life force of what is real within this physical existence, we are doing to our very own life force of our beingness and our physical bodies in our relationship to the mind, consciousness. So here, having a look at the process of becoming the tree of life within ourselves in relationship with our physical, with the analogy of the garden, breaking down that factory, that machine, that system, planting a tree, and how the equal money system will become that tree that we plant, a tree of life within this physical existence as a whole. So first and foremost, to shut down a factory and all the machines and systems and workers that are involved within their particular specific positions, I mean, you first have to understand how that factory is operating, is functioning, how the machines work, to be able to shut them down. And within this, the process that we're walking with Desteni through writing, self-forgiveness, self-commitments, this is the process where you are understanding how your mind, your consciousness as the factory at this very moment exists. And I mean, to also have a look at the very materials used to build the very factory itself, its very structure, manifestation, constitution. I mean, the breaking down of the factory is not going to be something as bashing in there and, just destroying everything. I mean, this process that we've got to walk in relation to the mind of consciousness, and it's going to be the same with the world system, money system. I mean, to change it, you've got to first get to know how it works, how it functions, how it operates, how it's run, who's involved, what's the positions, what's the knowledge and information or the programs that are running that are making this world system, money system exist. And so the same goes for our minds, our consciousness. I mean, this has been one of the pivotal points that have been missed within human consciousness, in human civilization throughout the ages, is that the point of why we haven't been really changing, and everything has just gotten worse in our very natures, in who we are, and our inherent beingness that's coming through. And I mean, this can even be seen in very young children, with regards to the already mental conditions that are detrimental and consequential and just negative and bad. I mean, why are these things escalating is primarily because they're not understood. I mean, we haven't really, in fact, understood consciousness, understood thought, memory, imagination, emotional and feeling energy, meaning the real science thereof. And for most part, because the mind or consciousness has not been realized to be an interdimensional system and an interdimensional manifestation. As we've also mentioned in posts within this blog, I mean, our mind is an interdimensional entity within real physical reality, in that you're thinking, you're having these internal conversations, you can imagine stuff, but it is not physical, meaning it's not something that can be dissected. And so therefore, this is the door that Desteni opens. It shows what's really going on within consciousness, the mind, how it really works. You get that interdimensional physical perspective that has never been brought forth before within human consciousness or human civilization. So therefore, we've got all the videos, materials, writings, interviews that assist and support with understanding the detail of how your mind and consciousness operate or function or exist. I mean, all of this is available on the Desteni forums and EQAFE. And within this, we are in the process of getting to know this world system, this money system, to understand how it functions, operate, and exist, and the proposed changes and solutions within it that is being walked in the equal money system. So here, I mean, obviously it's been shown already in human civilization, you cannot walk into your mind or into this world system and money system and be all attackative or rebel or revolt. I mean, you are going against something that you don't understand. So what in that equation then holds the power is that which you don't understand, because you're walking into the unknown. You don't know, you're not prepared for what you may or might face, or you don't understand the extent of what it is that you're facing, and so therefore you're in the inferior position. So that is not the solution. Fighting your mind is not the solution. Going into your mind or consciousness, the factory, and destroying it or ruining it or bashing it up, it's not going to be a solution. It's been proven in rebelling and revolutions and things like that in the world system, money system. It's not going to work. Therefore, the process to changing your relationship to yourself from the mind or consciousness factory to the tree of life, from changing the world system, money system, to the equal money system, to the tree of life of humanity, this physical existence, you have to get to know how it works first. And getting to know how it works is understanding your thoughts, emotional and feeling energy, imaginations, how they constitute personalities, characters, what they are, where do your internal conversations come from, where do the experiences come from that you sometimes have that you cannot explain, that just suddenly unexpectedly overwhelm you. Why do the relationships exist within your life that exist? Why have you lived the life that you have lived? Why is human nature the way it is? How did we come to where we are, and how and what we are now within the collective humanity in our relationship to this physical existence? It's interesting, that if you have a look at our life experience as we walk into this world or this reality, that there is this kind of like experience as though, when you're born and you kind of live your life, and it's like there's just this acceptance, like, I'm living my life, and according to I've lived my life, this is kind of how this world and reality and humanity and my mind has always functioned and existed. And we never consider within that, it's like we get to a point in our life that we don't realize that who, how, and what we are is not something that just magically appeared. It's not like we were beamed from somewhere and all of a sudden we just kind of walked into a life. The process of how we created our consciousness, the mind, the very thoughts that you think, the nature of those thoughts, your very emotional and feeling reaction patterns, your behaviors, your mannerisms, your internal conversations that you have, the voices in the head that come up, your imaginations, your relationship preferences, the relationships that you attract or avoid or resist. And that's really only mentioning a few. All of that took a process throughout your years, primarily up to the age of 18 to 21, where you developed your primary mind or consciousness platform. And during the ages of 0 to 7, where you already imprinted into your quantum physical your base behavioral patterns and reaction patterns, and then from there it just started personalizing into your personalities and characters, and from there your more specified thought patterns, internal conversations, imaginations, fantasies, relationships, and things like that. So there's an entire existence within the mind and consciousness that is not yet understood. And within this, to realize and understand that this world and this reality as well, it wasn't just beamed into this infinite existence and, bam, there it is. And, humanity just was beamed in all of a sudden as well. And, we just kind of started living. There is an existential history to everything, and how we accumulated throughout time, throughout lives, reincarnations, our mind, being, spirit, and physical body trinity, our beingness or being nature that was involved in what is involved in creating, manifesting, and establishing everything from the great to the small. So therefore, within this interview, to share that the process of changing oneself from the factory, the machine, the system that have extended its roots into the depths of our being and physical body, and had essentially parasitically taken over our beingness, physical equality and oneness, our life force, creating the illusion that energy, emotional and feeling energy, is life, or means living, or means to be alive, when it's actually all in reverse, as we're in the illusion that energy as emotions and feelings is life force, when in fact it is feeding off of our very life force of our beingness and physical body. I mean, it's the same within the world system, money system. How money is creating this illusion in human beings' minds or consciousness that money is life, is living, is what it means to be alive, when money, in how the world system, money system is set up now, is the very thing that is taking life, that is rooted into the life force of humans, of this physical existence, and using that life force the real life force, to create the illusion of life in relationship to money. So therefore, we have to reestablish that connection with our real life force in our beingness and physical body. Reestablish the world system, money system, to the equal money system that will recognize that life force that is within each one, and within everything that is physical, that is real. And how we have throughout human civilization existed in the reverse, in not realizing, seeing, and understanding that it had always been our physical bodies, this physical existence, that had been the real life that we had missed, that we have taken for granted, that we have used and abused. So this was the point within this interview to take into consideration. In the next interview, I will go into more specificity in terms of the change that one will go through from the mind factory to the tree of life, and equalize one's relationship with self, the physical body, how one's emotional and feeling reaction patterns will change into a self-expression, a real living, and assisting and supporting with showing, as I said in the previous interview posts as well, that when you're gonna actually show yourself within this process in how one do not need emotions and feelings to exist, that had always been the illusion of what it means to live or be alive, and that you've always been here, that you've missed your here, your awareness, your real expression, your real living. And this is truly a fascinating process to be a part of, and I would not want one to miss the opportunity that one have within this lifetime here with oneself, with one's physical body. And so for oneself consider that there is most certainly more to one's existence than the mind factory, the system, the machine, which only purpose is to generate emotions and feelings. I mean, I'm certain there's some that are ready to hear, that are willing to, for themselves, make something more of themselves in their life than just walking through life generating and experiencing emotions and feelings, but to establish an awareness beyond what exists only within the mind. Thank you very much.